Do you have Vata, Pitta, or Kapha tendencies? And if you're listening thinking, Karen, what are you talking about? What language is this? Don't worry, you're not alone, because today I have a real treat for you. I'm joined by my friend, Dr. Shivani Gupta, who I met last year at an event in Las Vegas. And when we met, it honestly did not take long for us to realize we needed to get each other on our podcast. Shivani has an amazing podcast. I have an amazing podcast, and somehow it still took us a full year to finally make this conversation happen. So I'm very excited to have her here today. Shivani blends classical Ayurveda with functional medicine in a way that actually makes sense for modern life, especially for women in midlife. She's the creator of Elemental Design, which helps you understand your Vata, Pitta, and Kapha tendencies so you can build habits that feel natural and sustainable instead of forcing yourself into routines that never really stick. She's an Ayurvedic practitioner, turmeric researcher, and speaker with a master's in Ayurvedic sciences and a PhD focused on turmeric. Her work is all about calming inflammation, supporting hormones, restoring energy, and translating ancient wisdom into simple daily practices. Things like elemental personalization, gut and estrobolome support, mental inflammation resets, and spice-based micro habits that fit into real life. Shivani has a new book coming out, which we were just talking about, and I'm super excited to read, called The Inflammation Code, which is a practical, non-diet approach to cooling chronic inflammation to help improve things like brain fog, bloating, pain, sleep, and mood. She's also the host of the Fusionary Health podcast and the creator and host of the Emmy-nominated TV show Vibrant Health with Dr. Shivani Gupta. You can learn more about Shivani at shivanigupta.com. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Whew. Well, I am pumped. What's so funny is this morning is, of course, this is going to happen. I woke up with the worst migraine, and I've been getting so much inflammation in the last 2 weeks that I actually ordered some turmeric, curcumin, and we can get to what this is, if you don't know. I'm sure everybody's heard of curcumin and they've heard about the spice turmeric, but we're going to talk about the elements of this little supplement today. Because I have to tell you, Shivani, because I don't think you know this, curcumin has been my number one staple supplement for probably 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that. Another turmeric fan. I love it.
And I got it because I always got chronic migraines.
Sure.
And it was the only thing that could help if I started to feel one. It wouldn't be as strong as medication, but it was the only thing that could take the edge off of it. And if it was a mild enough migraine, it would actually get rid of it. And I started recommending it when I was doing nutrition counseling. I was recommending it to every single person that I knew that had migraines or headaches, and they all had the same results. So it does really, truly work very quickly. It's not like, I'm sure you can take it, consistently and it'll build up in your system. And I've done that before, but it is a supplement that you can actually take just as a one time. I just took it this morning because I haven't taken it for weeks because I have this low grade migraine. And sure enough, an hour later, I can feel it alleviating. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to talk to her about turmeric because I know that you have a PhD in it, which is that's such an odd thing to have a PhD in. Why that? I got to know.
Sure. It's so funny. And I love that you shared your story on migraines because everything that hurts people, I always want to know, how did you experience it? I experience it when I've sprained my ankle, for example. I'll take a high dose of curcumin and it'll take that pain and it'll just drop it down. Is it the same as an NSAID? No. But is it pretty darn close without the side effect? Yes. And I'll get from an 8 to a 2. I'll be like, okay, I'm functional. I'm great. This is amazing. And then all of a sudden the curcumin is done and you're you feel the rise. And so
Yeah.
I love acknowledge that it's pretty fast acting. Like it can get in there and do the job, and then you need to start taking it consistently to hold that result. And then you move on. And then you can take it again when you need it, or you can take it as your daily preventive. So I love you said that. So I did my master's in Ayurvedic sciences because growing up, I was a chronically sick kid. Everything that came along, I would catch it. And I took antibiotics probably 50 times plus in my childhood. By the time I got to college, I realized there's something wrong with me and I need to figure this out because just getting prescribed more antibiotics is not working for me anymore. And so I was with my parents in India. And I said, we're in this land of yoga and Ayurveda, and I think it has something for me, and I need to go figure it out. And they were burnt out, successful entrepreneurs by then. And they're like, sure, you want to go detox all over India? Let's go. And so we went to these Ayurvedic centers, and I was just a kid in a candy store. I sat at the feet of these gurus, and they proved to me again and again that this ancient science works, that it's valid. Thousands of people from around the world were in those centers. Germans, Europeans, people from all over lived there because it had such profound healing benefits, reversing their diseases. And I thought, okay, so it's not just Indians who respect Ayurveda, the whole world respects it. I'm going to go study it. So I did my whole master's in it. And in herbology coursework in the class, the professor started explaining the benefits of all the spices. So cilantro does this, and cumin does that, and ginger does this, and there's adaptogens. And I thought, this is all incredible. Like, why is everyone managing me with medicines that don't work for my body? And then there's this whole group here, and those always work for me. My grandma was using them on me all the time when I was in India and I was sick. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go study this deeper. And when he explained the benefits of turmeric, I was sold. I was like, my whole family is diabetic, obese, and ends up with heart attack, stroke, Parkinson's, or leg amputations.
Wow.
And you're telling me curcumin from turmeric does all that? Well, then we have a disconnect because you're saying it works, Ayurveda says it works, but in the West, they don't agree with you yet and they don't believe you. So then I made it my life mission to study it and then just keep proving hand over fist that we can use curcumin for majority of things, not everything, but majority of things. If you address the issue at the root cause level using a solution from Mother Earth, I truly believe that's where we reach for those solutions or that level of relief and health and vitality that we all crave.
Yeah. And not recently, but within the last probably couple years, I read about how curcumin can actually help you to metabolize estrogen.
It does so much for the body.
Yeah.
It is so interesting. There was a study published in Menopause by the North American Menopause Society Journal, and it talked about, 40% reduction for joint pain and inflammatory symptoms. It talked about its effect on CRP and inflammation markers. I have read that too, though. When it comes to our hormone health, I read a study a long time ago, actually, that when it comes to PCOS, endometriosis, fertility, then we go into perimenopause, menopause. You talk about the whole spectrum of women's health and women's health struggles that we have. Curcumin can play a positive role because of the reduction of that systemic inflammation. But the estrogen piece is a newer piece of information.
Yeah. And actually, I heard that you have to use it wisely. It's not a massive reducer of estrogen in the body, but it can reduce your levels. So as a menopausal woman, you just want to be a little bit careful with the use because you don't want to drain your estrogen. But I think it's very minuscule. Like it's not a ton. It's just going to help your body to metabolize it, I think, a little bit quicker. So if you're not careful, you could actually drain it a little bit too fast. And so you just want to make sure that you're topping up and making sure that you have good amounts of estrogen still in the system. But it affects your gut microbiome. And then the inflammation piece, like you said, one of the biggest issues with menopause is we start inflammaging, they call it.
Exactly. Exactly. And when I studied it, I thought this is that golden key we all needed. And turmeric's this golden plant. What I love about it is that it's a very powerful anti-inflammatory. And that's why it's been so well studied, because it impacts the master switches of inflammation. So NF kappa B, TNF alpha. Like I have whole charts I present on because it's multiple pathways, over 30 pathways of inflammation are
Really?
affected because you're affecting those master switches. And so that's unique. And that's why we have over 17,000 scientific studies on curcumin right now, because the whole scientific world is like, why does this plant do so much? That's insane. What is it that's doing it? And we know that it is those curcuminoids. And then we also know curcumin is antioxidant. So it goes after the things causing oxidative stress, like reactive oxidative species, gets rid of those. So it's undoing the things that are oxidating us in the first place, which I love. I love the preventive piece. Like go in there and undo the thing that'll always cause damage. Don't just be a symptom chaser. Then
Yeah.
it's antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral. So for me, it's the best immune support. If I'm going to
Right.
travel, if I'm surrounded by my kids who get colds, I'm like, I'm not catching that. Antibacterial, big deal. So goes in the gut, gets rid of the bad stuff, keeps the good keystone bacteria, supports a healthier gut lining, which we all need, especially as the whole world deals with leaky gut right now. And we
Yes.
know how that's affecting our hormone processing. So
Yep.
many of us are high estrogen because we're not even processing our hormones properly. Then it's so powerful as antifungal. So anti-candida, anti all those issues. And then what I love about it is it kills off zombie cells and senolytic cells in the body. I think of turmeric as this ultimate janitor. So our body is going to form all sorts of stuff. Malignant cells. We need to have cell apoptosis. We need to have cells die that should die. We have these zombie cells that form that just go around and wreak havoc in our system. Senolytic cells. And so curcumin's this janitor. It just says, no, buddies, you got to go. You don't get to stay in this house, and gets rid of it all so the body can function more optimally. And then it also causes DNA repair. So I was presenting at A4M a few years ago and I pulled all this new science. It affects our senolytic cells, it affects sirtuins, AMPK pathways. Like there's a lot of scientific jargon around longevity metrics. It can affect telomeres. And so I think as we're talking about how we age through perimenopause and menopause, we're looking for those tools that are the most powerful tools.
Yeah.
And to me, curcumin can do that. It also creates neurogenesis and mitogenesis. And as a woman in her 40s, I want new brain cells. I want less neuroinflammation. I really need my brain to work phenomenally as I age. And then I want mitogenesis. I need more energy. I want that mitochondrial health to come back online that might have gotten diminished in perimenopause as well.
Wow. I had no idea. I just knew that it was a great supplement. I knew a little bit about it, but I didn't know all of that. So I
It's
appreciate
incredible.
hearing that because now I'm like, now when I take it, you know how you know, like once you know what something's doing, then I think that there's also a placebo effect where you're like, oh, I'm taking this and now my brain's going to be better. I'm going to have autophagy. I'm going to have this. I'm going to have this. But it really
Exactly.
can't happen.
Exactly. And as we walk into menopause, we talk a lot about the musculoskeletal syndrome of menopause, genitourinary syndrome of menopause. And I was thinking about it and I was like, in Ayurveda, we knew that as we entered the phase called menopause, we were entering this more Vata season of life where it's drier and we've got a lot of joint pains and aches. We've got different issues going on. And so I love that curcumin can be such a powerful natural ally because every time I talk to people about curcumin, they're like, oh, my mom needs that. And I've been told that to my face thousands of times over the last decade. And think about that. Who are you going to be in the next few decades? You are your same person. You are your mom. I will be like my mom. I can tell
Yeah.
where I'm going to have joint pain just watching her. I'm like, oh, my
I'm
knees.
so
Oh,
my
my hip.
mom too. Yeah.
Okay. And I can see
Everything
it
she
coming.
went through in menopause, I go through.
Exactly. So I'm like, well, Shivani, what's your game plan? What is the plan to avoid all those aches and pains, all that effect on mobility and movement and freedom and flexibility? So that's where I think curcumin also has a powerful role is we need to stay out of pain and we need to reduce that systemic, chronic, low grade, persistent inflammation that's causing all those downstream issues, the brain effects, the joint pain effects, and all of that.
So many years ago, I actually just realized recently how many years ago, and it's almost 30 years ago, Shivani, I traveled India extensively for 4 months.
Really?
And that is where I was introduced to Ayurvedic medicine. And I
Oh,
think I was just trying to, I do believe it was in a place called
Kerala?
Pondicherry or Chennai, or maybe it was
Yeah.
Kerala, because I did go to Kerala. It was one of those southern
Yes.
places in India. And I just remember seeing an Ayurvedic practitioner of some sort. And I don't remember anything else. I remember somebody looking at my palm.
Yes.
Would
In
that
your tongue.
probably, I don't remember. I mean, this is 30 years ago, but I just remember the palm reading, but then also speaking about Ayurvedic medicine, but I don't remember what was talked about. But for those that don't know what Ayurvedic medicine is, can you just give us like a little brief about it?
Sure. So Kerala is actually the birthplace of Ayurveda in India.
Okay. I bet it
And
was down there.
Ayurveda is this incredible ancient system of medicine from India. It's
Like
over
super
5,000.
ancient. Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, how
And they
long?
say it's like one of the original systems. Like
Yes.
traditional Chinese medicine is also about
Yes.
5,000 years old, and it covers
5,000.
acupuncture and their herbs as well. So I met an acupuncturist who's like, "Did you know Ayurveda is older?" I'm like, "You know what? Let's just call them sister sciences and not get controversial. They're both profound." So
Because could you
I
really prove it? Like,
I wasn't there, so I can't prove that one. But I think it's beautiful that we have these ancient wisdoms that are
yeah.
still so profoundly helpful. And I give the acupuncture reference because then people are like, oh, well, if that ancient and acupuncture definitely still works. So Ayurveda, which is ancient, taught us how to bring body, mind, and spirit into alignment. And the way we do that is from the 6 pillars that I pulled out of Ayurveda. And those 6 pillars are one, know your elemental design. So know your body type and live according to that body type. Then we teach about circadian clock. So now in the biohacking longevity space, we use that word circadian. The circadian clock is from Ayurveda. We teach about gut health being the center of all health, your mental health, your immune health. We said every piece of vitality and health you want starts in the gut, which we now know modern science is proving to be true, which is so cool. Then we teach about how to eat, when to eat, how to eat so nutritiously for your individual body type. We can't all eat the same diet. And then I teach about dinacharya, the daily self care rituals that we can use to build a rhythm that are detoxing and beneficial to the body, including things like tongue scraping and things like that. And then finally, in the book, I talked about mental inflammation, how stress is the worst thing for our bodies. Mental inflammation is causing our physical inflammation. And so that kind of covers meditation, pranayama, yoga, like the level of self care and nervous system regulation we need if we actually want to win at inflammation. So Ayurveda covers all those things. It also covers herbology, which I call our mindful medicine chest, that we can reach into any time to get that healing and that support that we want, but using Mother Nature's tools, which are so healing to us. So Ayurveda teaches us a daily lifestyle we can use that's truly preventive, that brings us into our own alignment and our own rhythm so we can have vitality and beautiful health.
Wow. I was taught when I was a rolfer. I don't know if you know what that is, like a deep
Yeah.
tissue body work. And I remember in school learning that there was very few styles of healing medicine that were considered third paradigm work. And he explained it as third paradigm is when we're looking at the whole system, mind, body, spirit. And Rolfing was one, Chinese medicine, and Ayurvedic medicine. Third
Wow.
paradigm work. And there may have been others, but those three were top
Nice.
that I
Yeah, I
can
mean, it makes
remember.
total sense. I mean, by the time you find Ayurveda, unfortunately, you're usually at your last door. Like you already went through all of Western medicine, didn't get your answers. Then you're like, okay, well, they weren't able to solve for me. I'll go to chiropractic, naturopathic, homeopathic, medical massage and Reiki. Maybe people find Rolfing, which is a profound tool. And last door, they find Ayurveda. And so that's my whole job in this lifetime is just to bring Ayurveda much more into the forefront because I
Yep.
believe if we live the Ayurvedic lifestyle and we fused it with functional medicine, which I love,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, did we have to go down that big health journey or could we have just stopped it much earlier? Because our lifestyle is preventive
Yeah.
and anti inflammatory.
Yes. Okay. The elemental design. I I want to know what I am, but explain what the elemental design is and what I started with it. And I obviously pronounced it wrong. The beta,
Yes.
Pitta, and Kapha.
Yes.
How's that?
For sure. No, it's really good.
Okay.
Part of why Ayurveda, I think, has not reached all the masses is because the words are hard. Ayurveda is hard. Vata, Pitta, Kapha is hard. In the book, I was starting to teach all these concepts, and I realized, you know what? If they're all hard, no one's going to get it. And so this concept I'm going to talk about now is the doshas, and that was just one more
Yes.
Sanskrit word, and I was like, I'm not
Yep.
adding it on the pile. And so as I sat there and thought about it, I was like, how do I teach people? They have a body type. And if you understood your body type and applied it to everything you do, you designed your entire life around it, everything would shift. So that's where the name elemental design came from, because these are based on the elements. So in Ayurveda, we teach that there's 5 elements: air, ether, fire, water, and earth. And then when you take those 5 elements and divide them, you get Vata, which is air and ether, Pitta, which is fire with water, and then Kapha, which is earth and water. And so a Vata person, I'm going to pronounce them the way I say them, a Vata person is typically air and ether. So imagine a beautiful breeze in a park, like outside, or imagine a ceiling fan, something that never ever stops moving ever, or a tornado. Like the violence of air could also be a tornado or a cyclone. And so a Vata person is typically taller or shorter than anyone in their demographic. They're typically thin and wiry. So this is that lanky person or that really petite person who's kind of small boned. This is someone whose personality is always in motion. This is like a busy body. Their energy is always moving. They can't sit still. They're not going to take a job that requires them to sit still forever or be sitting down. This is that person who can run marathons and bike 15 miles a day. And this is someone who always is in the creative space. They're lighter, they're air and ether, so they can access all that wisdom and pull it down. This is someone who's health wise tends to be dry. So dry skin, dry hair, maybe brittle hair, brittle bones. This is someone who has tendency towards light sleep, disturbed sleep, and insomnia, tendency towards dryness and constipation, and a tendency towards kind of struggling with eating. Like they have a hard time putting on weight. So this is someone who will go through their day. And it's a vata when they're like, yeah, I had some green juice. I had some celery sticks. I forgot to eat lunch and breakfast. And you're like, you can do that? That's insane. Like I could never.
That's not
You
me.
don't if I skip a meal, you should just stay 50 feet away.
Yeah.
So Vatas will just go through and they're like, juice, coffee, good. And then by dinner, they ran out of steam. And so Ayurveda teaches that if you are air, the counterpose to that is earth. We need to ground the Vata person. We need to get their feet in the earth. We need to give them warm, nourishing meals. We need to bring in the healthy fat that's going to create oleation of that gut lining. So anytime someone says constipation, I'm like, ghee. Let's get ghee in the system. It'll clear you up real good. We want them to really focus on self-care rituals that are warming and nourishing to the system so that they win at that dryness of joints and dryness of the body. I focus a lot on sleep with my Vatas because we got to win at sleep so that we win at inflammation and health. And so that's the Vata crew. And so I have a quiz on my website at drshivani.com
Oh, I
and
should
they'll
have taken
learn,
it.
yeah.
I'll
So
take it after this.
you'll learn physical, mental, emotional, and reactionary. Like, where are you at? Because you can have a primary and a secondary elemental design. I'm going to explain them, but keep that in mind. You're not just one of
Okay.
them, you're a combination.
Well, that's good because I'm like, ooh, I have poor sleep and I have certain elements of this bata,
Correct.
but I'm not skinny and I'm not.
Yeah. So we can have pieces. We can be more physically one, mental, emotional another. And so it's cool to understand it and then learn how to balance them all because then you know which toolkit to reach into. And then the second one is Pitta. Pitta is fire. So this is someone who's a lot of fiery elements. Imagine a fire could be a little Bunsen burner, could be a beautiful campfire, or it could be a bonfire and then a forest fire. So there's a lot of ranges in terms of fire. So Pitta people, when you meet them, tend to have reddish skin, reddish hair. So underneath my makeup, I actually have like more reddish skin. Tend towards early graying in their hair. Tend to be medium bodied. So where the Vata person is lean and light, and the Kapha person we're going to talk about is heavier, sturdier. Pittas are right in the middle, like well formed, like to be athletic. Pitta personality is all fire. They are leaders. They are passionate. They are organized. They are driven. They are like very singular. Like, I want to do this and I'm going to do it. They're that like fiery personality. When they eat, they want to eat hot, oily, spicy foods, even though that's not the best for them. They tend to have good sleep. They tend to gain weight as they age, so they have to watch it. They tend to be inflamed. The fire can be really strong. They also get hangry. So Pitta has such a strong fire, it wants to consume everything, like consuming the world is a Pitta trait. Now, when a Pitta is imbalanced, you know you're imbalanced because you are angry, you are frustrated. You let your anger out on the people closest to you. They're your collateral damage. You tend to be like a volcano. You just erupt. And so what I teach my Pittas is treat yourself like a nuclear reactor. Stay cool, calm, and collected. Plan for your food, your hydration, your electrolytes. Bring in those summer foods. So more of cucumber, coconut water, watermelon, like everything cooling, fruit, those things. So many people say, I am a sugaraholic or chocoholic. That's actually us trying to appease our own anxiety and stress. And so Vatas might do it because of their anxiety. Pittas might do it because I'm a Pitta. We get so overwhelmed and stressed out because we tend to overcommit. And then the sugar will just soothe us. And so I teach everyone when that's happening, just pause for one whole second, address why you're doing it, and maybe reach for fruit or coconut water or something else instead, and then see if that craving is still there. Because it might be that you're just looking for the cooling effect on the inside of that sweet thing.
Right.
So that's the Pitta crew, is really staying cool, calm, and collected. Eat 3 square meals a day because you need it. You have the fire for it. And then avoid hot, spicy, oily, and fried foods, which is hard for the Pittas. And then you get to Kapha. Kapha is bigger bodied, bigger boned. This is earth and water energy. This is someone who can lift heavier. Like, they have that sturdiness and resilience. They tend to have curly, oily hair, oilier skin, big round eyes. This is someone who is so kind. Their nature is kind, Mother Earth energy. In a man, it's like a mountain, like you will not move them. And in a woman, it can be that grandma, loving, caretaker energy. She or he is, they're all about their friends before they are actually about themselves. They're about everybody else. And so they tend to neglect themselves, can have a tendency towards a slower metabolism because it's earth energy, can have a tendency towards a lot more mucus and congestion, and a tendency towards feeling low or being almost depressed. When a Kapha person gets home at the end of their day and they sit down, they do not get up again. It's like asking Mother Earth to get up. And so I encourage all my Kaphas, like, do your day, and when it ends, and accept that. Like, we don't all have to be burning the
Work
clock
with
at
it.
both ends. Yeah, like we
Yeah.
don't have to be in the hustle culture. We don't have to buy in.
Yeah.
So for Kapha, we support by saying no cold smoothies, no raw salads. Eat warm cooked meals if Kapha is your nature, because that supports your metabolism to being healthier. Make sure you move first thing in the day and get your energy moving. Get that metabolism churning and burning for you before you start your day so that you've got your energy for your day. And when you end it, you end it. And then we also talk about less dairy, less anything causing mucus, and using more of those spices that ignite the body, like the turmeric and ginger. And so that's like a quick summary of the elemental design. And everyone has a primary and a secondary. Some
Okay.
people are what we call three doshic, balanced in all three. It's very rare, but people are three doshic. And so I like everyone to take the quiz, and you'll usually get like your biggest primary. And on my website, we're adding the bigger deep quiz that's like 4 pages. But when you take it, you come to know between mental, emotional, reactionary, and physical which one you are in which area. And so knowing that can be so profound because now you have a completely different playbook on yourself. You know your body type, you know what your body needs. And that might be the final key to unlock for your health goals.
I don't know which one I am now. When I was preparing for today's interview, I'm looking at the three and I immediately thought, oh, I'm Kapha.
Okay.
But I'm not sluggish and I definitely don't have low motivation. I just kind of saw the resistant weight and kind of puffy and I was like, oh yeah, okay, well, that's me.
Well, resistant weight and puffy can be inflammation. So you could be pitta and
Right.
you could just be inflamed. I'm a pitta and I get inflamed, and then my body does that. And I'm like, oh, okay, time to hit the reset button. Turmeric, sleep, lymphatic drainage, move in nature. Like, do your homework. You teach this.
Because yeah, and okay, so is there a quick couple questions you could ask me to help kind of figure out what I am?
Yes. So you already, like, just sitting with you, look like you have a reddish skin tone. That's an indication of more pitta.
I'm
Are you
thinking pitta
personality
too.
wise like a go-getter, driven, passionate?
Yes,
I
yes,
think you are. Typically,
yeah.
every podcaster I meet is a pitta, and I've met about 200 of them now. So to do a podcast, you have to be driven and want to change the world and want to impact, and maybe you have a
Yes,
business tied to it. So anyone who's an entrepreneur is usually a pitta person. Um, do you have a mind that's very focused and organized, or do you have a mind that sometimes is like all over the place and gets scattered and is kind of in the overwhelmed state?
that
Yeah. So
definitely.
90%, I was taught this in the Ayurveda school like 10 years, 15 years ago. 90% of the United States has a Vata imbalanced mind. It's the majority of us. I even find that for myself, and I have to like pause and say, let go of Instagram, go move in nature and get focused. Like that's enough. You're cut off. Because we're in a world right now where so much input's coming in. The news comes through our social media feeds, our family and friends. We have text, we have these cell phones. And so that's why when I was writing the book, I taught everything, but the end chapter was mental inflammation, just to make the point that we have to stand guard at the doors of our mind, or we're all going to have that vata mind that's going like a tornado that never lets us be in parasympathetic, rest and digest. We're always going to be in our sympathetic purely through the mind. Then we'll always be inflamed. So it's normal for you to say, I have a vata mind, I have a
Yep,
pitta, major like pitta self. And then I find if we're mothers, we have some portion of kapha in us because
right.
you're going to hold kapha energy to be motherly and caretaking and that energy. And so what I like to teach people is you can shift between them. So in business hours, I am a pitta. And at 4 o'clock, when I say I have high tea, I pause, I have a cup of tea, I check in with myself, and I literally downshift my speed and go, okay, we're moving into motherhood time. Do not go meet the kids at 100 miles an hour. It won't go well. And then when I downshift and I've taken a moment to have my own tea and snack and then get the kids, then I can be guffa energy and enjoy them and take care of them.
I'm going to start saying that now. I'm going to be like, oh, okay, time to switch into my kapha
Yeah.
because I do have that switch, and I kind of I do that subconsciously already, where come out of my office at the end of the day, and I know I have to shift gears and connect with my son, and not just be like, yeah, now I gotta go make dinner and like, oh yeah, and just let him do his own thing. It's like, no, sit, connect with my kid, take it down a notch, don't go on my phone, and then after dinner, then I hit the kapha switch where now I gotta go lie down.
Yeah.
And I don't want
Yeah.
to move. I don't want to get off my
Correct.
couch. But I definitely
Yeah.
think that the Pitta is my primary because I fit so much of that of just go, go, go. And I'm an Aries, so I'm already fire.
For
The
sure.
leader, I love leadership,
Yeah.
entrepreneur, all of those things. So I would say that that's kind of where I fit in. But everybody's I'll link to the quiz in the show notes because everybody loves a quiz like that where they get to kind of find out something about themselves. And so,
Yeah.
how could knowing what is it called?
Elemental design.
Thank you, elemental design. How do you see this fitting into our perimenopausal to menopausal journey? Because I know that this time in a woman's life, it's not just about, oh, we're inflammaging, we're gaining weight, we got hot flashes, and our poor vagina's drying up. There's also a major spiritual shift. And I really, coming into 2026, I really want to start focusing more on the holistic view of menopause, not just here's what we're going to go through symptom wise and physically, and here's your hormones. I want to start inviting my listeners and our patients and members to look at everything from a very mind, body, spirit modality and honor that, hey, this is a time where there's some spiritual unrest that our bodies are starting to talk to us, whether it's going, like this is your time now. You've taken care of everybody else, whether you've had kids or a partner or your job. And we kind of spend our 20s and 30s getting all of this outside stuff taken care of and taking care of everybody else in our life. And then I feel like this is our time. And it's time for us to listen and go inward. And so I love all of this stuff that you're talking about. How can we bring this into this time in our life? Because you're 46, so you're in the heat of it.
Oh, yeah, I'm in the middle of perimenopause. And I learned that Indian women can, on average, experience menopause up to 8 years earlier. And so I saw that online and thought, okay, well, we need to be a little
Interesting.
more focused then on the process because this is going to happen even sooner. So, where's the estrogen plan? Like, I need to be really ready for this. But, the spiritual conversation is so interesting. I was doing a talk here in South Florida, and someone asked me, is Ayurveda spiritual? And I said, wow. What a beautiful question. I'm doing a very bad job explaining the whole point of Ayurveda because the whole point of it is if we get body into alignment, healthy and vibrant and feeling good, and we have vitality and we're not suffering with pain or gut issues or inflammation or not feeling good, okay, then the body is at ease. Then what happens? We have polyvagal theory. If body is at ease, it goes up the vagus nerve. Mind can be at ease. So the goal is stand guard at the door of your mind. Do good things and rituals throughout the day so that your mind is at peace as well. Emotional health. That's why we bring in the emotional piece of those elemental designs. Know what your template is and know how to stay in balance for yourself. Then what's the goal of all that? Our spiritual alignment. And so you're right, going into the season of perimenopause, menopause, we're starting to have that conversation of it's not just HRT. HRT is a piece of the puzzle, or getting our hormones balanced is really the biggest piece of that puzzle. But after that, what else is there? Well, a lot of times I'm seeing people talk about this spiritual journey of release, and my friends and I are like, we are in perimenopause. We are parents to teenagers. Talk about the rough work. We thought baby
Yes.
was rough. Teen is rough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Newborn, humility. Then you've got aging parents, which is a really tough one.
Yeah.
I've got my mom, all my parents and grandparents are in their 70s. It's like, oh my God, you're
Yeah.
now paying the price that I told all of you not to pay for your health change. And so they're all trying to change right now at the end game.
Yep.
And so it's so much at once. We're definitely the sandwich generation, and many of us in perimenopause with still all the responsibilities of partner, kids, and then also on our entrepreneurial journeys. We're in this moment where women want more and we want to do more and we want to have everything and we want to have it at once. And it's almost like you are a Ferrari racing down the track. And I feel it like you've got less and less fuel to accomplish the
Yes.
goal.
Yep.
And so, what I think Ayurveda gives me and can give us that's so profound is all the extra fuel tanks we need to get through and to the other side and build that moment of that spirituality, that understanding that we are so much more than just the things and the material things that we want. It's that ability to say, you know what? All this stuff doesn't matter. Let's focus on what really matters, our relationships, the people we love, and those things. And so, as I've been speaking about menopause for the last couple of years and teaching about it from the Ayurvedic perspective, and a lot of it went into the book because I am in perimenopause. And so, as I'm on the journey, I teach it. I started to think, menopause is the Vata season of life. You could almost call it, if you wanted to follow the current terminology, Vata syndrome of menopause is the moment you're walking into. But in your language and my language, if we're entering a new season of Vata, what will happen? We're going to have a tendency towards dryness, which explains the vaginal dryness, skin dryness, joint dryness. We're going to have
Eyes.
a tendency towards less resilience. We're feeling the less resilience, the overwhelm, the anxiety, very
Yes.
dry eyes. Holy
Yeah.
crap with the eyes.
I
I'm
know.
suffering so big with it. And
Yeah.
vision changes, everything's like erratic. So, erratic energy and movement and change is the energy of Vata. Then our brains are like, I am not here. This is brain fog. Okay, well, that's a Vata syndrome as well. And then we're talking about the physical effects. Like we talked about vaginal dryness, joint pain, all those things. But then finally, guess what the air season is? It's the ability to be closest to universal energy and creativity. So I really look at it as the more we can release all these things that we're not meant to do, the more we can tune into wholeness and being grounded and doing the rituals and rhythm that are grounding to us and make ourselves whole and nourished. instead of just focusing on everyone else's and we're depleted, bring that energy inwards. And then we can have that access to creative pursuits. Maybe we're meant to write books, or maybe we're meant to just do creative things and paint and create our own art in this life at that last stage. But we're meant to release and relinquish all these other things we've done, like you said, in our 20s and 30s, and then walk into those 50s beyond in that mode. And so the sooner we can kind of tune into that and recognize it, the better off we can feel.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that if women ignore this, that signal, which the signal is not fun, gets louder and louder. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, now this is going to happen. And now this, and now this. And you just feel like you're on this downward spiral, which is not fun. And it's so hard to pull yourself out. And you're like, I'm using the supplements, I'm using the HRT, and I still don't feel good. And it's like, okay, how about this piece? Like, what are you doing over here for your spiritual self? And that looks different for everybody, and it's about finding what connects with you, whether that's, traditional religion, God, Christianity, or is it just universe, Mother Nature, whatever it is, go into it. If something connects with you, then it's like explore that. Where in your life are you feeding your spirit? Because if you're ignoring it and you're continuing to ignore it, I feel like your body starts to really yell at you. Wouldn't you
For
agree?
sure. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I had that moment about 2 years ago. I called Dr. Amy and I was like, I'm dying. Can you help me? She goes, yes, sure. I had just met her and I was like, you're awesome. Can you help me? So she helped me fix everything and get it online. And I was like, okay, well, I'm amazing now. Thank you. Like I needed this. I can function out my level. But I also felt there was like a piece of me that needed to be tuned into more, and it was the spiritual piece. And so I called on my mentor who had taught me so much, and we started meeting, and I was like, okay, I need to make space in my life for more walking in nature, traveling with my girlfriends who I love. I need to make more space for myself. I've not given myself any space. I just keep adding on more goals and more directives for myself. It's like, okay, write a book. Okay, have a supplement company. Okay, raise amazing kids who are change makers. Like we can keep piling the list up, but are we satisfied? And are we nourished? Because what you're talking about is spiritual nourishment,
Yeah.
not just the fuel. So many of us are just shoving protein in our faces, but like whole nourishment, all the things Ayurveda teaches, circadian alignment, rituals and rhythms, and then that final piece of like fill your own cup. Like where can we do that? Do we need to read the books or go deeper into that faith journey of our own so that we have that too?
Yeah. I think my big ones were so far, I know there's more to come, but just like thinking about this past year, because right now it's January 6th when we're recording this of 2026. And I just did a podcast on my year in review. And so I kind of went through what I went through last year, which there was some really big learning experiences that I went through. So some old stuff that I thought I had dealt with, and they resurfaced last year and were like really strong, really in my face. And I'm like, oh, I haven't closed the door on this. And it went way back into childhood. And so I had to make sure that I dealt with it. The other thing was community, because when you said community there, that was a really big one for me that started a couple years ago where I saw the value in like girlfriends. And I had just been so stuck in my own world, in my own little family unit. And I'm like, I need to make an effort with connecting with other women and supporting other women that were in this industry that you and I are in, because that made me feel so good. If I could support another woman in business and help hold her up and do whatever I could to make her successful, that lit my fire. And I just was like, I got to do more of that. And I got to make time for these women. And that meant traveling, because most of my closest friends friends now live in other parts of the world. So I had to like commit to going and seeing these women and connecting with them even more. And then also just in my direct community and reaching out to these women that are in my neighborhood and going, hey, do you want to go for a walk? And just getting to know them better. And oh my gosh, it's done so much for my spirit. Really, really, it has.
Yeah, it makes total sense. I think we live such isolated lives,
We
and
do.
we, since pandemic, are more and more isolated. So I'm from Houston, Texas, and I'll go home, and some of my own family will be like, "We don't have time to go see those people." But then if you go to your own cousin's home, I mean, in my case, I have many girl cousins. They're living my same life, just a different flavor, just a different version.
Yes.
And I always feel so good after spending time with them. But I'm like, why are we so lazy that we don't want to make the time or the space to go be in
Yeah.
communion or community with people? It's because we've gotten so used to just being home, alone, comfortable, social media. We have everything built into our homes to be so comfortable. And so it's about pushing ourselves and remembering the more we move, the happier we are. The more we live in alignment with our elemental design, the happier we are. But the more we do it in community, the better off we are. And so that to me has been a big focus of mine. When I go to the conferences, I'm like, I get to hang out with the most powerhouse women who I admire, who I learn from all day. Like when I saw you in person, I was like, I listen to every Karen Martell reel that I see, and now I get to see her in person, and it felt like you were already my friend. I was like,
Yeah,
it's
totally.
so funny meet your women in your space, we're all saying the same thing in different ways. We're all trying to pull together the best science and teachings and teach it in a way that will finally land for the woman in front of us. And there's so
Yes.
many people to help. So it's incredible that we can collaborate and do so much. But to your listener today, our listener, it's about making space for you. I teach it as a simple habit. I teach tea time is me time. And it's my way that I created to pause 5 times a day, tune in, ask myself powerful questions. Who do I need to connect with today that I haven't talked to in a while? And I'll get a hit like, "Oh, you didn't talk to this person yet. And you've been thinking about them." Or what do I need to do today to make today better? What do I need to change this week for this week to be better? Have I planned that I get to eat dinner today? And a lot of times my body will come back with answers. And you could also call that the universe speaking
Yep.
to us tuning into our intuition as
Yeah.
well. And by doing that, all of a sudden everything shifts. We feel better. We have more energy. We dropped into parasympathetic because tea is hot. You can't chug tea. And so you're going to drop into parasympathetic for that moment and just give the body, mind, and spirit enough space to communicate with you. And so this is my favorite habit, and I'm obsessed with tea. So I've made many cool teas. I made like a menopause support tea with shatavari. I've made deep sleep tea and unwind tea with ashwagandha and things. So I use my teas, but I also love just a cup of tea as my way to tune into self and unwind from life for a moment so that I'm aligned again to spirit.
Oh, I love that. I love it. It's great. Yeah, a lot of women, they'll say, I know what to do, but I can't stick with it. And I know you talk about this. From your experience, why do you think that this happens and how can we kind of start having these practices and stick to them?
Well, if you think about Vata, Vata is erratic, always moving energy, always distracted, always in motion. And 90% of us are Vata deranged, is how we call it, Vata imbalanced in Ayurveda.
Deranged. Yeah.
Deranged is the word we use, which is a pretty powerful word. Like if you're
Yeah.
Vata
Yeah.
deranged, imagine how imbalanced you are. And I think we are in that kind of society at the moment. So New Year's just started, and I thought for myself, okay, you are gonna hydrate more, and you're gonna move more, you're gonna do these things. And a week later, I was like, I am busy. I've got work to do. I don't have time for that. And I thought, no, no, no. Consistency. You're a Pitta. Hold your results. You need to stay cool, calm, and collected. And so I hear you that keeping habits consistent and disciplined isn't always easy. I think part of that is because they're not fun. My job to eat enough protein is not a fun job. My job to hydrate like it's my job is not a fun job. The job to go lift and be consistent and then deal with the pain of that sometimes, it's not the fun job, but it is mandatory homework. So, what I try to do is show from the Ayurvedic perspective, if we looked at certain things in our life as rituals, then those rituals and rhythms that become our habits are actually the fun part of it all that feels good And then it opens up just enough space for us to do those other things that we know we have to do. I know I have to take my supplements. I have to eat my protein. Those are mandatory things. But because I know I also get tea time is me time, I get my circadian walks. I'm gonna have like treats that are built for me, my electrolyte water that tastes so good and as a fit that cools me down. Because I make those rituals in my day, all of a sudden it's easier to hold those other consistent habits on top of them. So that's how I look at it is build the daily rhythm and build some good fun stuff in there. And then it's okay to do the hard, serious stuff that we know we have to do.
Yeah, even just changing the wording doesn't it just makes it sound so much better. I think when we say, "Oh, I've got to create this new habit," or "I have to," like you said, eat the protein, I got to lift heavy, I have to, I have to, I have to. Humans are creatures of pleasure. We're hedonistic, and that's how we're wired. So I think as soon as you put it in your head of this task that you have to do, because somebody on social media said you have to, some menopause person like myself, that's like, you got to eat your protein, you got to lift heavy weights. We have a resistant to it, and then it becomes not enjoyable, and we're like, oh, I gotta lift weights, right? And I am guilty of this 100%. But as soon as you change your mindset, you change the wording, like how much better does that sound when you say rhythm and routine over I have to?
Correct. So my rhythm is I yoga every weekend. I lift 3 times a week. I walk in between. My rhythm is I do self-care every day. My rhythm is I sleep beautifully because that is my biggest gift to myself. My rhythm is, and I keep adding those things in. I have rituals, and I consider rituals like a beautiful thing. I think we've lost rituals as a society. We look
Oh,
at everything as
totally.
tasks. Like, get the
Yeah.
task done, get the checklist done. The list of things never ends. Yes, I am a successful, a relatively successful, focused human being. So I am successful at achieving my list of things, but I also know that the list of things will never end. And so I just assume that it's going to be there and instead build my personal life to be based on rituals. And then I try to weave those rituals in through my day. So even in my office, I have a tea cart and it has a tea kettle and it has all my herbal teas. It has my tea bags too, if I'm in a mood to be quick. It has my healthy snacks. So I'm very much about how do you integrate your health habits into your life in a way that feels good, but is also convenient and easy because we need these things to be fast and easy sometimes.
Yeah.
And then when you have time, can you make space for the ritual? So every evening I steep myself a delicious cup of deep sleep tea. I make it epic. I get in bed, I lay with my heating pad, and I'm like, oh, this is the life. I read a book and then I go to bed. And I'm like, this is my biggest gift to myself. And now, how often can we expand that and do even more? So that's my hope for all of us is we'll build this daily ritual and rhythm. And then all of a sudden when we get off rhythm, we'll know and we'll come right back onto rhythm because it'll feel so good.
And so, should a woman then, if she's wanting to put some of these routines and rhythm into her life, is it best then that we, find out what our elemental design is, and then like so it'll look different for each of us maybe as to what is going to be best on how we perform and what we do as these rhythms and routines?
For sure. So when I wrote the book, I really dove into each of those elemental designs in depth, and I gave recipes for each type of person. And I gave the circadian clock and kind of like a daily sheet of rhythm for each person in the book.
Oh, I love
And a
that.
lot of it is also on my website because I know not everyone's going to have the free time to read a whole book. I get it. We're all living modern day lives. So on the website, when you take the quiz, you get a lot of those answers. And my dream is for everyone to just understand that we are different elemental designs. We're different combinations of those elemental designs, but there are some universal principles in Ayurveda around opening up your morning routine with things like a tongue scraper or oil pulling. These are simple habits that improve oral health, which improves gut health. Then you get to your midday, have your lunch, and have it packed with your highest nutrient ingredients, nutrient density ingredients, and you have the strongest digestive fire to absorb that meal. That's universal. We're getting into your evening. We're entering Kapha time of day from 6 to 10. We're meant to wind down from the day. But so many of us kind of break that rule and work straight into the night. And Ayurveda says 10 to 2 on the circadian clock is when you're meant to sleep. And so I teach so much about sleep rituals to improve that depth and sleep quality. So it's restorative for brain. We need that the most. And then we wake up when we've cleared lymphatic, and we wake up healthier. So I teach a lot of the universal principles as well. And then we can customize from there for the different elemental designs.
And is there different techniques or supplements that each one of them will use to reduce the inflammation?
Good question. So turmeric is pretty universal. I mean,
Okay.
when I studied turmeric, I was like, turmeric does everything. So when I made my two turmeric formulas, turmeric gold inflammation relief, I made it so we could all win at inflammation that way. And then my deep sleep tea and gummies support sleep as well. And I know you have a solution with melatonin, which I think is amazing because we all need that. And then I made teas like unwind tea, which is ashwagandha, brahmi, all the adaptogens to calm us down. So that one's an interesting example. Unwind tea, I was going to call it anxiety tea because it calms us down, it helps us downshift after work because many of us don't know how to do the downshift easily. So the tea calms you down from a crazy stressful day. Vatas need it the most. Pittas actually need it too because we're so intense we won't downshift. Kaphas don't really need that tea. Kaphas are already chill. They're already one thing at a time, one word at a time, one movement at a time. They're already in that slower pace. They don't need anyone to slow them down. Then you have like a sleep tea. Well, Vatas have the roughest time with sleep. So any sleep solution, they should find it, use it, and get the sleep. I can't tell you how many people I've met who say, yeah, I sleep 3 hours a night, 4 hours a night. I'm like, that is insane to me. Like, let's talk. Can I help you?
Yeah.
For free. I just want to
I
help you
know.
sleep because
Sleep
that's like
Nazi. Yeah.
so key.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then pittas. Pittas will have good sleep, but the pitta mind is such an overdrive thing. If I wake up in the night, I'm still dreaming about my business. So I'll have to say, calm down,
Same.
stop it. So I take a good amount of sleep solutions, progesterone with melatonin and all these things, because I know I need phenomenal sleep. So I'm restored for my intensity the next day. And then Kapha does not need any sleep help. They have slumber for 10 hours. Like they have the best sleep on earth. So when we're building sleep formulas, it's not for them because they don't need it at all. So yes, there is a little bit of customization. When I build, I try to build very universal. But when I meet people, I can say, okay, yeah, you just need, turmeric because it's gonna ignite the system. It's gonna get rid of inflammation. It'll do what you need. So it just depends.
Because when you keep mentioning three herbs, which it's the turmeric or curcumin, what's the difference?
Sure. So out of
Curcuminoids is out of turmeric, correct?
Correct. But out of
Yeah.
that entire turmeric plant, only 3 to 5% of it is the curcuminoids. So
Okay.
people ask me all the time, they're like, should I eat fresh turmeric? Should I just sprinkle it on my chicken? And I always say, look, fresh turmeric, you can juice it. It is beneficial. People take those turmeric ginger shots. To me, they're burning hot in my throat. I can't do it. We never really used fresh turmeric in ancient India. We would take it and grate it like a pickle and things on things, but we would never use fresh turmeric. We took it and dried it. So when you take turmeric and dry it, you are really concentrating it. And that's that kitchen culinary spice that people love to use. I'm Indian. It goes in all my dinners. Of course, it's part of our cuisine. And turmeric is beneficial. But imagine I am a woman, 45, inflammaging, heading towards menopause. That little sprinkling of turmeric in that food, when only 3 to 5% is the curcuminoids, is not enough. And then you get to curcumin. So when you have those curcuminoids, curcumin is one of the most effective ways to reduce inflammation, but that proportion matters. So a lot of times when we buy supplements right off the shelf, those are made for profit. They're made in the cheapest way possible. They're not really made for quality. And we learned that because I think it was the Wall Street Journal published an article that when you go to the big box retailers, over 75% of them, when you pick them up, they investigated, don't have the active ingredients at the level listed on the product. And that to me was shocking. When I heard
Yeah.
that, it was in my 20s or 30s, and I was like, I rely on supplements. When I
Yeah.
buy vitamin D, vitamin C for my immune system, I need it to be the truth or I'm in big trouble. And so when I learned about turmeric, I thought, let me create a supplement that's so potent that mimics the proportion of Mother Nature, that goes as high above the standard as we can get. So we're usually at a 98% grade potency, well above the standard. But because I mimic Mother Nature's proportions, the body receives it better, absorbs it better, and then you get those profound results. So that's what I've been doing for a decade is I built a formula to prove to all of Western medicine that they can offer turmeric for any sort of health issue based on inflammation. And they can offer it as an adjunct solution to what they're going to offer, like an alongside solution. And then a couple years ago, I started teaching about it online because everyone's like, I just want the best turmeric. So I teach
Yeah.
about it online like this.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Because so curcumin, my favorite of all time. Second, ashwagandha. Like I love ashwagandha. It's one of my all-time favorite for stress. Like I resonate with ashwagandha so much.
Me
And you
too.
talk about
When
that.
I'm,
And then shatavari. Shatavari is my
yeah,
favorite, like all-around women's perimenopause, menopausal herb.
for sure. I mean, ashwagandha will be my next PhD. Like when I'm in menopause and no longer responsible for all the humans, I want to study ashwagandha next because I think it's so multifaceted in its approach to how it supports us. If you're stressed and anxious, it calms you down a couple notches. If you're low and depressed and having the blues, it lifts you up. It's like this beautiful thermostat just functioning with our body, understanding exactly what we need. We call it the horse's mane. Like it gives like this strength, this vitality. It supports neurocognitive health. I'm like, all those things I am sold. And then ashwagandha is very calming. So a lot of people are using it for sleep. And there was actually a study done, it was published in Sleep Medicine. They had 150 participants who had insomnia, and they gave them standardized ashwagandha extract. And they saw a significant improvement in their sleep quality, in their sleep onset, and their sleep efficiency. It reduced their cortisol levels, and it had minimal to no adverse effects. And so they proved that it improves our sleep quality by calming the HPA axis, but without the sedative side effects. So it's ideal for menopause and menopausal women because a lot of times we are this wired but tired
Yeah.
feeling, which is a Vata syndrome, right? Wired because we're always ready to move, but we're tired from it. We don't necessarily have the same vitality and energy. And so I love that about ashwagandha. I think it's like right after turmeric, it's my favorite. And so that's why I put it into two teas. I put it in sleep tea and unwind tea. One day I want to build like this amazing women's formula, but I haven't built it yet. But it would have ashwagandha in it. It would have bacopa, rhodiola, shatavari. Like these are all incredible. And
They
then
really are.
shatavari, as you pronounce it, shatavari, is how we pronounce it in the West. It's for menopause and hormone resilience. Like that is the queen of adaptogenic herbs. And it's actually good for women and men. But there was a published paper on it, and they took 120 perimenopausal and postmenopausal women, and they saw a 30 to 40% reduction in their classic menopause symptoms. So that's hot flashes, night sweats, irritability. And then they saw an improvement in their emotional stability because it acts as a phytoadaptogen and it helps support the HPA axis as well. So I
But
thought
it's
that
not
was
a phytoestrogen though, is it? Or is it? I don't know.
I don't think it's a phytoestrogen. They
No, I don't
talk
think
about
so
it as a
either.
phytoadaptogen, but
Yeah.
not an estrogen mimic. And shatavari, I love when I formulated it in a tea, I added three types of tulsi, lychee, and I put it on a green jasmine tea base because that's my favorite type of tea. And so the women who've taken it have told me they don't have hot flashes or night sweats anymore. And I'm like, perfect. Then I made the tea for myself 10 years from now. Love it.
Yes.
And they're like, this works. I'm like, teas, basically herbs from Ayurveda work. It's just about getting ourselves to take them in the right potency and then the right form to get that result.
You're going to have to send me some of your products. I didn't know you had
Absolutely.
all of this stuff.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I want to
I'm in
just grow.
Canada though. You're going to, it's so hard. Everybody's like, I don't know
I'll
if we
have to
can get it to
do.
you.
When I meet certain people from Canada, I just bring them all the stuff in person.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, you bring them up and send some to me because I want to try it. I've used the same curcumin for almost 15 years probably. So
Cannot wait for you to try
I
mine. I'm
want to try
excited.
yours. Yes, and
Yeah,
I want
for
to try these teas too. They sound really good. I have been also getting into teas. I've been drinking the Peak Life teas. Have you heard of those?
yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just like the one is turmeric and cinnamon And then there's another one that's cinnamon and ginger, and I love ginger. It's actually, I was going to say, if I was to put a fourth in there, it'd be ginger as far as the
Me too.
herbals go. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
love it.
ginger's
I
so
just
good. It's so good for
consume it.
digestion.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone, I wouldn't say every day because we have to be careful when we say every day for anything nowadays because the cumulative effects can't always be good for everything. Like aloe vera juice is very popular right now, but targeted and used for constipation, it's super effective. So any day you wake up and you cannot go to the bathroom, just have a small shot of aloe vera juice and boom, your system is gonna move and it's amazing. So ginger is an amazing habit, a couple days a week. It's going to ignite the digestive fire. It's going to help with that digestion. And so we are big fans of ginger in Ayurveda and using it all the time.
Yeah, I was just telling somebody about it in my group yesterday because she was suffering with constipation and she's like, I am just dying here. She's on the GLP-1s, which that's a very known side effect, slowed gastric emptying. And I was like, you got to take dried ginger. Like take a capsule of dried ginger with some magnesium, good quality magnesium, and that should get things rolling. And people don't realize that ginger is a peristaltic. Is that how you say it?
Yes,
Peristaltic?
peristalsis. It'll
Stelsis.
support peristalsis in the
Yes,
morning.
which
Yeah.
is like how your intestines basically push your poop out.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no,
Push
yeah.
everything down and through. I mean, this is why Ayurveda taught something called dinacharya. You wake up in the morning and we teach to have a copper lined vessel by the bed with water because the first step that's most important that we do in life is to poo. And most people don't think of it that way. In the West, we don't think of it that way, but we want a scheduled routine and we need you to go to the bathroom every day. Otherwise, we're not detoxing. So it's hydrate first, then brush your teeth, then tongue scraping. Tongue scraping will also help with going to the bathroom in the morning. I've fixed constipation on just tongue scraper
Wow.
before. Then I've fixed hundreds of
Just
people's
because it's
constipation.
changing the microbiome?
It's going to help. So it detoxes all organs. So it's going to really push on every single organ of the body through the tongue. And
Oh,
so some people's
interesting.
constipation is affected that way. Then a lot of people with aloe vera. I was just home in Houston. My mom goes, "Wow, your aloe vera juice idea worked." I was like, "It's an ancient remedy. Of course it works."
Yeah, I'm
Then
going to start recommending this. I didn't know about the aloe vera juice.
and so just moving through these natural remedies is such a beautiful way to support ourselves, especially as we're going through our seasons, right? We might need to pick up a natural remedy here or there, and then we have all the support we need.
I love it. Well, this has been amazing, Shivani. I'm so glad that it finally happened after a year. We had even each other booked last year, and then something happened. We couldn't. You were going to Canada, I think, or something. You were in Canada. You were in Canada for some reason, and it was like, I can't do this. And it was like,
Yeah.
well, okay, let's postpone. And then it's just like, now we're finally doing it. So
Yeah.
very glad. And it's good timing because you've got your book coming out, The Inflammation Code. When is it going to be out?
This book publishes February 3rd, and then I get
Okay.
to teach and share about it all year long. I'm so excited for people to read it.
Well, I'll make sure that this airs then right after February, like the start of February, so that it is out by the time this airs. And so, people, it's for sale. You can go purchase this. If you want to know more about what your element design is, take the quiz on her site, read the book. It all goes together, and I can't wait. So you have to send me a copy of your book. You got to send me some of your supplements. I'll
Perfect.
send you some of
Will
my
do.
progesterone, and we'll have the stay so trade off.
Oh my God. Good progesterone is worth its weight in gold.
Yes.
There's nothing else more important to me right now than sleep. And so I'm so excited that you make a progesterone with
No, Shivani
melatonin.
said to me before we aired, she's like, do you actually have progesterone? I was like, yes, I do. I'm like, I will send you some. You were so
So
happy.
yeah, it's one of those things, sleep is the cornerstone to our health, and the fact that it disrupts for us so
Yes.
badly. And then we're
So
still
badly.
women trying to love and support the whole world,
Yeah.
but sleep is taken away. It's just unacceptable to me. So I'm always like telling everyone, have you tried progesterone? It could be the thing. Let's go. And they're like, aren't you supposed to tell me about your tea? I'm like, yeah, yeah. Let's start with progesterone first. Then we'll move into Ayurveda.
Yeah.
Okay. Like
Combine it all
solutions, guys.
together and we'll be
Let's
sleeping
do the
great.
solution. Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Any last words of encouragement about perimenopause and menopause in relation to your journey through perimenopause that you want to leave with our audience?
And perimenopause threw me for a bigger loop than I expected because I teach and practice health wisdom all day long. And
Yes.
when it did so, it just reminded me that we're all on a journey. We're not expected to be perfect. We're not expected to be perfect with this. But it really reminded me that my main goal with my health is sovereignty. Sovereignty and freedom are my words. And so I want to stay free and healthy and have my vitality all the way till the end because that's what allows me to live this life to the fullest, to travel, to stay independent, to be able to do anything I want whenever I want. And so perimenopause was just the powerful reminder. Sometimes you have to upgrade your efforts and upgrade your approach. And when you do, you get to have that vitality back. So I encourage everyone, we can take new steps in our health, new directions, new approaches, get the help and support we need from amazing practitioners like Karen Martell. She's amazing. And then we can have that vitality we deserve, that resilience. Anything we want, our body wants to be the healthiest it can be. The body knows how to heal. We just need to give it the support it needs.
Well said. Thank you.
Thank you.